Most people spend Washington quarters every day, but 3 of them are worth thousands of dollars and are still found in pocket change. Miss these, and you could spend a small fortune without knowing it. Let's start with why the 1966 Washington quarter is so dangerous to ignore. The 1966 quarter looks boring. No mint mark. No silver shine. No special anniversary. Just George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. Millions of people assume it's worth 25 cents and move on. The year 1966 sits in a very unusual moment in US coin history. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the US Mint completely removed silver from circulating quarters. Silver prices were rising fast. People were hoarding coins, and the government was desperate to keep money moving. That means in 1966, no quarters have a mint mark whether they were made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This decision created massive confusion, inconsistent quality, and some of the rarest mint errors ever released into circulation. And that's where the big money begins. Most 1966 quarters are made of a copper-nickel clad composition. But during the chaotic transition away from silver, mistakes happened. Extremely rare mistakes. Some 1966 quarters were struck on round planchets, including leftover silver planchets from 1964 and earlier. If you find a 1966 quarter that weighs more than normal and has a silver ring when dropped, you may be holding one of the rarest modern US coins in existence. These silver transition error quarters are so rare that only a handful are confirmed. When authenticated, they have sold for tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on condition. One of the most valuable versions of the 1966 no mint mark quarter is the double die error. This happens when the coin design is struck twice slightly off alignment, creating doubling on the lettering and numbers. On high-value examples, you can see clear doubling on "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date 1966. These aren't tiny scratches. The doubling is bold, visible, and undeniable. Collectors go crazy for these because they prove the mistake happened at the mint, not after circulation. A high-grade 1966 quarter with strong double die features has sold for over $300,000 at auction. Let that sink in. A quarter, worth more than a house in some places. Another killer error to watch for is the off-center strike. Some 1966 quarters were struck so badly that parts of the design are missing, while others are shifted dramatically to one side. When the date is still visible and the error is extreme, collectors will pay insane money. Then there are broad strikes, where the coin spreads wider than normal because the color failed during striking. These coins look slightly oversized and strange, exactly the kind of thing most people ignore. Big mistake. High-grade broad strike 1966 quarters can sell for 5 to 6 figures, especially when paired with other errors. Now let's talk condition, because condition is everything. Even a normal 1966 quarter can be worth thousands of dollars if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins graded Miss 67 or higher are extremely rare because these quarters were heavily circulated. Most were scratched, worn, or damaged within months of release. But if you find one that looks sharp, strong details, rich in luster, no wear on Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers, you need to stop immediately. Some top-graded 1966 quarters without major errors have sold for $10,000 to $20,000, simply because so few survived in perfect condition. And here's what makes this even scarier. Many of the most valuable 1966 quarters were found in pocket change, old collections, or jars that sat untouched for decades. These were unlocked in vaults. They were unprotected. They were spent, ignored, and forgotten, until one person looked closely. So how do you protect yourself? First, check the weight. A standard 1966 clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. If yours is closer to 6.25 grams, stop everything that could indicate silver. Second, look closely at the lettering and date. Use a magnifying glass or phone camera. Any doubling, thickness, or shadowing could be a double die. Third, inspect the edge. A visible copper stripe usually means clad, but an all-silver edge is a massive red flag. The 1996 Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and carries the P Mint mark, which by the mid-1990s had become standard on most US coins. Over hundreds of millions were produced, and because of that, most people assume every 1996 quarter is only worth face value. That assumption is where costly mistakes begin. While the majority of these quarters are common, specific conditions and mint errors can push their value from 25 cents into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Many valuable examples were never saved by collectors and spent years in circulation, picking up dirt, scratches, and wear, yet they still carry strong premiums. Condition is the first major factor. A worn 1996 quarter with heavy circulation usually trades at face value. However, coins that survived in uncirculated or near-perfect condition are much harder to find than people expect. By the 1990s, quarters were heavily used in vending machines and everyday transactions, which quickly damaged surfaces and destroyed mint luster. A 1996 Washington quarter graded Ms. 65 can sell for $15 to $30, while examples graded Ms. 67 are far scarcer and can reach $1,000 or more at auction. At Ms. 68, values can climb into the multiple thousands, because only a tiny number of coins meet that level of perfection. These high-grade coins often come from original mint rolls that were never opened. Strike quality also plays an important role. Many 1996 quarters show weak details, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's chest feathers. Coins with sharp strikes, full details, and clean fields are far more desirable and command higher prices when certified. Mint errors are where worn and circulated coins can still be valuable. One of the most desirable errors is the double die adverse. These coins show visible doubling on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date 1996. The doubling should appear rounded and raised, not flat or shelf-like. Even circulated double die examples can sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on strength and eye appeal. Another valuable variety is the off-center strike. Some 1996 quarters were struck off-center by 10% to 50%. Leaving part of the design missing. Coins with the full date visible and dramatic misalignment are especially collectible. Even heavily worn off-center examples can sell for $300 to $2,000. Broad strike errors are also known for this year. These occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal and lose its reeded edge. Broad-struck 1996 quarters often look strange and are easily overlooked, but collectors will pay hundreds of dollars for clear examples. A rare but extremely valuable error is a wrong plankett strike. In these cases, a 1996 quarter may have been struck on a plankett intended for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin. These errors usually weigh less or more than normal and often show incomplete designs. Authenticated drawn plankett quarters can sell for $5,000 to $10,000 or more. Additional errors such as clipped planchets, major die cracks, cuts, and rotated dies also add value. While minor cracks may bring modest premiums, large and dramatic errors are highly collectible, even in low grades. When checking a 1996 Washington quarter, collectors should examine the mint mark, strike sharpness, weight, edge, and lettering under magnification. Any unusual feature should be professionally authenticated, as even an old, dirty, and heavily circulated quarter can still be worth far more than its appearance suggests. The 1971 no mint mark Washington quarter dollar coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during this period. At first glance, this coin appears ordinary, but several important factors determine whether it is worth only face value or significantly more to collectors. By 1971, Washington quarters were fully transitioned into copper-nickel clad composition, meaning they no longer contain silver. The coin is made of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge with a visible copper stripe when viewed from the side. Because hundreds of millions were minted, most examples found in circulation today are worn and carry no premium. Condition plays a critical role in value. Circulated 1971 no-mint mark quarters are usually worth 25 to 50 cents, sometimes slightly more if they have above-average eye appeal. However, once the coin reaches in circulated condition, the value increases sharply. Coins graded Ms. 65 can sell for $10 to $20, while higher grades like Ms. 67 are far scarcer and can reach $1,000 or more. Very few 1971 quarters survived with full mint luster and sharp details due to heavy circulation during the early 1970s. Strike quality is another key factor. Many 1971 quarters were struck weakly, especially on Washington's hair above the ear and the eagle's chest feathers. Strongly struck examples with crisp details are far more desirable and often command higher prices when professionally graded. Mint errors are where this coin becomes truly interesting. One of the most sought-after varieties is the double die obverse. These coins show noticeable doubling on the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and sometimes the date 1971. The doubling must be clear and rounded, not flat or shelf-like, to be considered a true double die. Authenticated examples of strong double die errors can sell for thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. Some 1971 quarters were struck off-center by 5% to 50%, leaving part of the design missing. Coins with the date fully visible and dramatic off-center strikes are especially valuable, often selling for $500 to $5,000 or more. Broad strike errors are also known for this year. These occur when the coin is struck without the retaining color, causing it to spread wider than normal and lose its reeded edge. Broad-struck 1971 quarters with clean surfaces and strong details can bring hundreds to thousands of dollars. A rare but important error to watch for is a wrong planket strike. In extremely rare cases, a 1971 quarter may have been struck on a planket intended for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin. These errors are instantly collectible and can exceed $10,000 when authenticated. Die cracks, cut errors, and clipped planchets also add value, especially when the error is large and clearly visible. Small cracks may add only a modest premium, while major cut errors can bring several $100s or more. When examining a 1971 no-mint mark Washington quarter, collectors should carefully inspect the weight, edge, strike sharpness, and lettering under magnification. Any unusual features should be evaluated by a professional grading service, as authentication is essential for high-value examples.